Hello guys, welcome back to Overtake. I'm Michel, and with me today is Marcel Offermans from the Last Garage. Welcome Marcel.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you again.
Last year we were here with a very early version of the simulation I'm working on that had just a single car, single track basically. Since then I've been working more on the physics side, adding a lot more elements like aero elements, brake temperatures, brake fading, all kinds of stuff like that. Added VR support to it as well, because every sim needs VR support. Obviously a big component, which is the multiplayer part, which we've been seeing yesterday in the event. Works over LAN right now, still needs to be extended to also work well over the internet. So yeah, a little bit of background about me. I have a degree in mechanical engineering. I've been a software developer all my life and sort of rolled into developing simulators by being able to take over rFactor 2 many moons ago, founding Studio 397. Basically extending that simulator over 5 to 6 years to I would say a very interesting product, and that ultimately led to the sale of 397 to Motorsport Games. A year after that I thought, well, it's time for me to do something new. I have a lot of passion for this. I want to try and do my own thing. I wanted to have no boundaries, start over and see what I could do.
A clean sheet of paper, basically.
And yeah, so I had a lot of ideas and I'm starting to implement all of those right now.
Last year you didn't really know where this is going to. Will it be some sort of engine for other developers to basically license your tech, or is it going to be your own game? Is there, 1 year later, has the decision or the goal or the direction been more clear, or is it still a bit up in the air?
There's definitely more focus. I want to do my own game for sure. I'm also still open to licensing discussions if someone else has a great idea.
What would you say is now really in the driving physics, what is your focus to set your tech or your driving physics apart from the competition or from the consumer simulators?
Well, it's a good question, because in the end, I mean, it's physics. Physics hasn't changed for many, many years, right? I would lie if I would say I'm doing something revolutionary there, because we're all using the same physics. I'm just trying to get as close to the real cars as possible. So making sure that I can model the cars in the same way that they behave in real life. So making sure you get exactly the same suspension setups and stuff like that, and all the weights and inertias right. I'm kind of hoping if you just do that and accurately model the car, that it will feel good. So far that seems to be the case, but I wouldn't say that's anything revolutionary.
We all talk a lot about tire model and suspension and weight transfer and so on, and grip and brakes, but is it like airflow around the chassis of the car? Is this something that is taken into consideration by your tech already?
Yeah, we have aero elements that we can place on the car that simulate little wings and other parts that create some kind of downforce, or in some cases even lift. So we can do that for the chassis, and you can place an arbitrary number of wings at any position on the car to simulate that. Still working on some of the diffuser and ground effect aspects of that. That's currently not in yet, but that's something that's definitely on the list. Things like drafting and stuff, because that wasn't in yet. You saw that yesterday in the competition. It's very difficult to overtake if everybody's sort of at the same level. It's a bit like Porsche Cup in real life, right? It's very hard and everybody's very close together. So
sometimes you have to wait like a few laps to really see, okay, there's a little weak spot of my opponent. I can maybe take a bit more speed around there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think our simulator is ready for us, so I'll get some laps around Anglesey, and we can maybe talk about yesterday's final. So then we had basically a semi-final system with 8 drivers competing, 8 pro drivers, so esports drivers that are actually signed with esports teams. And then we had the people qualifying here. There were also a few known names like Michi Hoyer, for example, who also qualified then obviously, but still a very interesting format, because it's an island on the coastline of Wales, and it looks beautiful from the outside. I'm a bit sad that we are here sitting here on the island, but it would look nice if we have this like above view of the track. But
we can do that if you really want to.
Oh, free camera.
If you want to kind of zoom out a bit.
Look at that.
See,
yes.
You can get a view for the whole track like this.
That's cool, yeah.
Try and drive around
like this. It's an interesting way to drive. It's maybe You can also basically develop an RC car simulator.
Yeah, like
now.
this.
But that's cool to see, and that you now also have the driver in the car with the hands on.
Yeah.
And that's what also people will ask, because the steering angle does not match our movement with the wheelbase yet. But that's, I think, due to the hands, they would do crazy things if you allow them to
I
go.
did that on purpose because the hands would indeed do crazy things. I'm not completely done with the animation system there yet, so I chose to make the rotation a bit less so it looks better on camera.
I'm just not a fast learner, so I had to practice a bit also to learn the track, because it's completely unknown, I think, to most people. And what I thought is the car is not really confidence-inspiring first. But once you get the hang of it, it's really, really nice. Yeah, weight going onto a tire or something. Yeah, if you have weight on the outside tire, that's still some effects that are missing for me. And also when the car is starting to slide, it almost slides over all four wheels, and you just have to understand what the physics are doing. But all the stuff that is happening on the road and also with the weight transfer, I think, is already quite nice.
Yeah.
What has been the feedback of those esports drivers who are used to like all sorts of simulators? What is the main concern they had, maybe?
Well, I think most of them felt the driving was quite natural, so they were quite enthusiastic about that. Certainly we had feedback on some of the handling aspects of the car specifically. Some of them wanted a bit more oversteer. We had a lot of comments on the brake balance, which is something in the real car you can actually control on the steering wheel a bit. So depending on preferences and track, you might want to put that a little bit more forward. We deliberately put it backward a little bit so you can really make the car rotate on the corner entry by just braking a little bit more. But that's also kind of tricky to control. So we got some feedback on that, and that helps us going forward. And we're also going to be testing this car at BAC, who have a big simulator at their factory.
So they know how their car feels like.
They know how their car feels, so I hope we can get some of their test drivers to actually sit in the simulator and give feedback on how it compares, because they did thousands of laps on Anglesey because it's their test track basically.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
So that gave us a lot more data for this car on this track, which is helpful. But it will also get us better feedback from the drivers because they actually drove here. So
And you also announced new partnerships, for example, with Donkerford.
Yeah, we'll be, like we're working with BAC, we will be doing a 2-year research project with Donkerford and Heusingveld actually, to create a digital twin of their upcoming car. Their current car, the F22, is being phased out for some practical reasons. They're using an Audi engine, and
the 5-cylinder.
But
nice.
Audi's not delivering them new engines anymore.
Yeah,
so
they are going out of
they
are going out of production, I guess. The TRS is gone, and it's the last RS3 with this engine. Yeah,
exactly. So
it's very sad.
So they're switching to Ford engines, and that means designing a whole new engine bay, and that basically means designing lots of parts of the car again. So an update is coming, and we're going to try and see if we can put that in the simulator and actually optimize some of the suspension parts and handling already in the simulator before we start building the real car and testing it on track, which is what they do right now, and which is quite an expensive process, obviously. So,
and then you also unveiled your cooperation with the Race of Champions. So in March in Sydney, you will be there with the E-Rock.
With the E-Rock, yeah.
Nice. This will also be broadcasted?
I'm pretty sure it will be.
It will.
Yeah.
And this also, you're recreating basically the track that is run in the real Race of Champions in that stadium.
Yeah.
And we will see your tech in action in an official event again.
Exactly.
That's quite nice. And but you don't have any information when the public, like over a Steam demo or whatnot, will be able to test this?
No, I'm always saying it. I will announce that when I'm ready, because I don't want to have a deadline and then be forced to release something that I don't think is ready. If you ask me now, I think it's still 1 or 2 years out before we're at that point. But things might always change in the future, so I really don't know. I can actually probably show you a little bit. It's hard to see. You have little yellow lines on the screen, which are basically the forces acting on the wheels in all the different axes. That kind of gives you an idea of the forces and weight transfer. Yellow is actually the forces on the front two wheels, and if we would have an external view, you'd see the same on the rear.
See.
And there's little blue lines as well. Those are basically the contact point of the tire, the center of the contact patch. I can show you also a bit more of the suspension of the car by simply turning off the body. And then you see all the little suspension parts.
That's what I liked about the Formula car as well.
Yeah.
Seeing like, push rod system, as we can see.
Yeah.
Let's go into the brake again. Nice. And now we also see how the wheels lose grip and stuff under braking. Okay, that's cool to see.
Yeah.
Does the brake pad also physically does engage with the brake disc and stuff?
Yeah.
The brake.
And you see the disc rotating and of course everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Other exhibitions where you plan on being so people could try it and give feedback?
We will be at a Dutch rally where we have a rally stage and a rally simulator that's being developed right now.
Okay.
That will be something unique because it has actually a seating position for the driver and a seating position for the navigator next to it, with the navigator having its own screen, so we can look out of the window and shout bass notes and stuff.
Yeah.
So you have a sort of multi-view setup like that.
Yeah. I already talked to Kevin Abring, ex-factory WRC driver for Hyundai.
Yeah.
He's involved. He helps you also with like dialing in the physics and stuff?
Exactly, yeah.
So
I mean,
cool.
he's very experienced in that kind of thing, much more experienced than I am and much quicker, so that feedback we use to tweak the physics for sure. Yeah.
We should definitely follow up with that, maybe also have a separate video on that rally simulator.
Yeah.
I'm very interested.
I'm sure we can make something happen there. Yeah.
Let's get over to SimoCube. Thank you so much, Marcel.
You're welcome.
And good luck. Next year we will be back, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Right. The car can be quite floaty, and also the brake discs and rotors are quite small. So that's a car that you really have to drive sensitive. Like 1 minute later, we finally cooked the brake. You can see it. It's all like dark orange. And when I try to stop the car, I'm fully on the brake now. And it just doesn't do anything anymore. Oh no. I'm fully on the brakes. Let's get into it now. Yeah, they are still warm. So it's braking better, but I think we have overheated them so much. I'm fully on the brake and it's just dead. So you have to really be sensitive about your braking technique. It would be also nice if there was like some vibration maybe going on then in the brake pedal, but this is the first prototype of this. So as we know, the SimoCube active pedals can do a lot of different frequencies and strengths in terms of pulsing and and vibration, and it's just a question of time. But that's already really impressive, and I have to say, even if it's a prototype, that feels really cool. This is exactly how I would expect it to be like. So thumbs up, great future ahead of us.